Let me begin with this.
Live on Eric Scott Talks a Lot, we talk to the youth. 16-year-old Amelia Whitney shares her story about the COVID crisis. Eric Scott Talks a Lot. Random and reckless entertainment brings this to us. Brainstar Media. Use your brain. Be a brainstar. I'm super excited today because it's a different kind of show. It's a show about the voice of our youth. We're going to talk to a good friend of mine, Amelia. How are you?
I'm good.
I am so happy. Whitney. Amelia Whitney.
Yes.
Well, you never know. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to say the wrong name like you did in the previous take.
Yeah.
And then because I said the wrong name in the previous take,
Yeah,
it
you
was
did.
super lame. And even though I've known your mom for so long, I said the wrong name. And then I was like, now what if I say the last name wrong, but I've known your mom and your dad for so long that it made my brain start to fart.
Oh, yeah.
So then I got stuck on the Whitney part. Okay. Am I rambling?
You were rhyming.
I was rhyming? Okay, Randy. We're super excited to have you. Anyways, I want to talk to you about so many things, okay?
Okay.
But the main thing I want to talk to you about before we get it, we're gonna get down the road, but I'm gonna get some background on you. But what I really want is to go over like your experience in the last year,
Yeah.
okay? With COVID. That's why we have you here.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I want to get it from the horse's mouth. You know what I mean? Not to say you have a horse's mouth. Okay? So, okay. Amelia. Okay. All right. So give us some background on yourself. Tell me about age, what grade you're in,
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, I'm
What you're into.
I'm 16. I'm in 10th grade.
Okay.
I do ballet. I just kind of started back.
Ballet.
Ballet.
Okay. So how long have you been doing ballet?
12 years, I think.
Mm.
12?
So that's a commitment.
It is.
Okay. So tell us about ballet.
Well, I've been quitting on and off for like 3 years, but
What did you get out of ballet? What did you get out of it?
I made a lot of friends, which was really nice. And I also just, balance and gracefulness and
Balance.
balance.
So like the part of it that you get is balance from the whole experience, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're getting balance.
I'm getting balance, yeah.
Okay, so instead of going into like routine and the struggle of it all and all that, it's interesting that you say balance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So do you use that still today, balance wise?
Yeah. I know one of the main reasons I stopped was because my schedule was so busy with
Okay.
school.
Do you think you got to make time for it?
Yeah,
Do you wanna-
definitely. Like a couple weeks ago, it's just I need to go back. I need
That's what I was
ballet.
trying to articulate earlier. So kind of you doing it brings you balance is what I'm getting. And just the whole meaning behind ballet, of course, is balance, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you're getting back into it then.
Mm-hmm. It's
Okay.
definitely my hobby.
What's your
Happy
passion?
place.
What's your passion right now?
Writing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, cool. Okay, what kind of writing? Tell me about your writing.
I do just mostly fictional
Mhm.
writing.
Okay.
Stories, kind of a creative outlet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you like playing with words?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Are those the classes that you tend to take, like creative writing, stuff like that?
I haven't had the opportunity to yet, but I hope to.
10th grade.
Eventually.
So are you at a local school here then?
I am, yeah.
Okay, I want to name it. Which one?
Timberline.
Okay, that's the
Yeah.
alma mater.
Yeah.
That's where we go. That's where we left early, dropped out.
In your case,
And not your case, okay?
Yeah.
All right. I took off and ended up playing some rock and roll.
Oh.
And I got educated later.
Yeah.
I did do it the hard way. I wouldn't say it's easier or better. I would just say it's way harder. So do it now.
Yeah.
Get it done now, because when you have kids and all that stuff, it's really, really tough if that's the route you want to go. But it seems like these days there's just so you have this individuality about where your generation that is really empowering, where you don't have to be in these economic boxes. I just felt like the first time I worked my first 40-hour work week really, really young for Safeway. I worked so hard to get to there. And I felt like once I got there, I remember my grandma going, like, welcome to the struggle. You have to do this every week the rest of your life. And I was just so bummed.
Yeah.
I feel like there's something different with you guys. I do. I feel like I'm bummed a little bit. I would love to be a Generation Z, because I could like literally just roll my individuality all the way to where I wanted to be, rather than having to fit into something to move, because that's just the way it fucking was. I have no idea why I didn't think any different, right? Yeah. It's just the way societies work sometimes, right? Okay, I went off on a path there. That was so cool. By the way, to toot my own horn. Anyways, I want to talk to you about COVID and the year that you had with COVID. I'd like to start with what you were into, how your life was, what you were doing, what you were rocking and rolling, and you're just having a great time, and then bam, what happens?
Yeah.
Like, so what are you into and what are you doing, and then how does it happen for you?
So, I would say at this, like right before it started, I was a freshman, so I was, doing school and ballet, just hanging out with my friends, assemblies, football games.
Right.
I had a boyfriend for like a week.
Woo!
Whoa, yeah, I know.
That's a long time.
A week.
That's a long time for high school. Yeah.
And then it all kind of...
What was his name? Put him on blast. You want to put him on blast? No? You don't want to put him on blast?
No, I don't think he likes me anymore. Okay. I think he's very mad at me.
He's very mad at you?
Yeah, I don't know why.
You can put him on blast? You got him right now. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, Kenton.
That's my girl. I love it. Yeah. We got you, boy. There you go. Okay, go ahead. 1 week out the door. All right. Yeah. Cool.
So, sorry.
Oh, I love it. Kenton, kicking rocks.
Yeah. So then I went to, I went to Eastern Washington.
Okay.
For my uncle's funeral, my great uncle's funeral.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And then I got sick.
Okay. What'd you get sick? Oh, what'd you get sick with?
We don't know.
Okay.
It could have been COVID. It could have been the flu.
Got you.
So I was sick.
Got you. So you're one of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard the stories.
I was sick for like a week and a half.
Right.
And I didn't get
So it was not your normal sick. It was a kick down sick.
It
like
was,
one of the worst you've ever.
It was awful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
103.7
right.
fever type thing. But then we all went into quarantine, and I never got to go back and say bye to my friends. I never got to really see anyone before we went into quarantine. And school just stopped.
What a crazy situation that you went through right off the bat.
Yeah.
So you had this kind of inner, like, I'm fucking sick and it's happening.
Yeah.
Like all around the world,
like
right?
The first case was here when I was 6. So it was,
Right. Right. So were you up in Seattle and kicking around or anything at that time? Because that's where you would have got it, right? Probably.
I was out in the middle of nowhere in Eastern Washington. I don't know where I would have gotten it.
You could have got it from a fish. Were you fishing?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I could have gotten it from school.
Fish are anti-vaxxers.
Oh.
Randy told me. Yeah, he told me.
That's a lie, by the way.
Randy is anti-vaxxing. Anyways. I got you off subject. Go ahead.
I could have gotten it from school because I wasn't feeling good for the week leading up to going to my uncle's funeral.
Duh, Eric, you're dumb shit. Of course, it would have been school, right? Because kids are all over the place. And you guys are doing
and my
all that.
school's crowded. Lots of kids. So.
Yeah. I got really sick around that time with the worst flu I've had in years and years and years. and my girlfriend got sick, and we were really sick, and then we went into quarantine the same way. So we were just starting to feel better, and then we went into quarantine. Kind of trippy. Yeah. But I never really thought that it was that, because I don't want to take away, you know what I mean, from the people who are tested that. But I was up in Seattle moving around. We were all moving around in Seattle. I think a lot more people may have had it than they think. You know what I mean? So there's a chance you could have had it, you know, but what do we do? But what do we do at that point? So you're going, okay, now I got to hunker down and do nothing. And how's the family going? So how do you get not taken care of because you're older, but how does the dynamic work with you being home and mom being at work, and what does mom do and what does dad do? Give us some, like, how did that work?
So, my mom was working from home while I was sick. So when we went into quarantine, she transferred to working from home. Okay. So she was home with me, and then I was also at home, and my dad, because he owns his own business, he was at work. Okay. You were in the middle of your you were at the beginning of your sophomore year when this happened, or was it freshman year? I was at the end of my freshman year.
You're at the end of your freshman year. Yeah. Wait a second. So I thought that we quarantined in March. We quarantined in March, right? Yeah. So it was okay, end of freshman year. Okay, so spring of your freshman year. Okay. Yeah. And so, that's when my little one went out of kindergarten. I get it now. Okay, so then you don't go back the following year, and now you're coming in at the tail end of your sophomore year. Yeah. And you're being reintegrated now? I
am. I'm doing 4 days a week at school.
And were you doing 2 before? Oh, we'll get to that. But so what happens when, like, just really spill to me. I really want to know the story in regards to what were you feeling scared wise? Did you feel like it was a hoax, or did you feel like it was absolutely real? What were you feeling?
So at first I thought, oh, like, there's just going to be one case here, and then it's just going to go away, and we'll go back to school, and everything's going to be fine. Right. I don't know if I thought it was a hoax or if I thought it just wasn't as big of a deal as people were making it at first. I was just kind of like, you know, this is shitty, because I'm having to stay at home when I could be at school with my friends hanging out, and I know a lot of my friends felt the exact same way about it too. So I just kept telling myself, like, you're going to go back in a couple weeks. It's going to be fine. And now.
Yeah, I think we were all kind of going through that step by step, right? So so you're going through all the selfish stuff, like I want to be with my friends. I want to, like, we want our jobs back. We want to keep going. We want to be with our friends. And but at the same time, what I want to know is, as a child, what are the adults telling you? Because adults, we know what we navigated. We navigated a shitstorm of fucking it up for you guys, is my point. Yeah. We didn't do it right at all for you guys. We really let you down. And I want to know, is that what you felt?
I definitely felt that, like, at the beginning, I thought that it was ridiculous. There were only like a couple cases in Thurston County. Why are they making us quarantine when there's only a couple cases?
Like, maybe we were overreacting.
Right. Yeah. And I even told my mom that I was like, I think you're overreacting. I think we're going to be fine. Yeah. Because she was like, oh, you know, we're going to be in quarantine for months. So you better get ready. And in my head, I was just like, she's being absolutely ridiculous. This is going to be fine. Right. It was. It's not fine. Yeah. And now, were you getting that from the school? Were you feeling that from the school too? Like, you're overreacting too? And I was definitely very aggravated with the school at first. I was just kind of like, you know, why are you closing us down? We're going to be fine. Like, you know, it's going to be fine.
What were your friends saying?
My friends were very angry at first, I think. Yeah. I knew a lot of kids that were just like, you know, this is ridiculous. We should be able to go to school, and we should be able to live like normal, because it's going to go away and it's going to be fine.
Did you have a lot of kids breaking the rules and kind of?
Definitely. Yeah.
I just know I would have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when people are like, they're just breaking rules, and I'm like, come on, you can't stop kids from being kids.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
And there were kids that would, hang out in big groups, and I would just kind of look at it and be like, oh, wish I was them at first. But now it's like, I want to make sure that I'm safe and that I'm healthy and that I can be able to see my grandparents and stuff.
I love it. So did the collective of friends, your collective within your friends, evolve to that as it kept going? And so keep taking me through. When did it start becoming more serious? When did you start thinking, well, let's say socially. When did you start thinking socially that this is something I need to kind of pay attention to? Because did you have an epiphany at one point?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. When my mom showed me like the cases and the deaths and just watching the news and seeing how many people were dying from it, I was just kind of like, this is not fake. It's real, and this is, it's killing people. It's awful. And especially because I'm really interested in history. So I was like, if this is, comparing it to past pandemics and stuff, I was like, it's not going to be good.
And us old people were blown away.
Yeah.
Because we'd never seen this. So we were like, I've never seen this in a life, my life. And so I that's why I kind of think that the youth even was kind of like, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're still young and naive, in a lot of ways. And that kind of wore off after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the culture of trying to move through your education? How, first of all, let's just do it kind of incrementally. Did your education take a big hit?
I think.
Do you feel dumb because of it now? Less than you were where you were kicking ass before, or do you feel like it was better?
Actually, I am doing a lot better in my classes now.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some kids have it differently. I know the teachers there wasn't a lot of homework being assigned because, it's just getting used to everything online at first. And it was definitely, it was hard at first, especially with like math and stuff, because I'm not math.
And math, you got to be on the pen, right? With the paper, right? Very hard to learn on a computer.
Yeah, and it was just all online. So I think at first it did kind of go down, and I wasn't, I would get up right before my classes started and just like log on and not listen at first. But now I kind of sit there and listen and pay attention.
Now, again, we're only speaking on your experience. So
we're only speaking.
Yeah. And so I get what you were saying earlier when you're like, I'm not speaking for everybody. And that's cool that you said that. You know what I mean? Because it's your experience. Because there's going to be kids that of all different walks of life that are going to have different types of struggles when it comes to going through this thing.
Yeah.
But thank you for sharing your experience.
Yeah.
Very, very fucking cool. So can we throw fucking with the youth? All right. Okay. So my next question is how, if you felt like you actually did a little better in regards to learning and retaining, am I hearing that right? And actually learning things.
Yeah.
I think I know the world is coming to that conclusion in a lot of ways, right? We're all going, well, wait a second. We work these long absorbent hours and spend all this time on the freeway, and we were more productive in all these different fields when we went through this thing.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of kids are feeling that way. Are you just ready to go back to school and ham it up and go for it? Or are you, now I'm only speaking scholastically, okay? Just scholastically. I want to divide them in two.
Yeah.
Or if it wasn't for social time and togetherness, what do you feel about that in regards to, no, I'm going to pull that question. That's hard because what that question does is takes away from learning in the experience of being at school. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to do that. So I want to ask you, I'll pull my questions because if they're not right, they're not right. So my point being is, do you want to move back into school like gung-ho, or is there some trepidation with the stuff that you've learned? And tell me about, if so, what would you throw in, and what would you do? Would it be a hybrid, or are you just done with the old? Fuck, that was long.
I want to go back to all in-person school eventually. I think that the social aspect of it, for me, it really helps. You know, making friends, being able to see my friends, because without seeing my friends, I mean, it was rough.
What's it all about, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
yeah, we're collective, we're community,
mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. So, keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me more.
And I think with hybrid, you definitely don't learn as much, and it's like you have to be responsible. And with me, I know I kind of struggle with that sometimes. Like, I don't want to get up and do that assignment.
Well, so I'm conflicted now. So you feel like you got smarter and you learned more, but you think there's more discipline in regards to going to school?
I think that I think it would help a lot of.
You think it's a more better rounded experience?
I think it's a better rounded experience.
Okay. Hence that whole experience of school and what you learn, like from community and from student-based learning, right? Where you all sit around and talk about things, maybe seminar about stuff, and you can see people's eyes and see the way they move and talk. And, things don't get lost in translation, right? Yeah. Because it's really hard to have that community. Do they have that community stuff on there? I mean, I'm not a student.
I mean, yeah. So they'll put us in breakout rooms, but a lot of kids don't talk. So it's just us sitting there. Okay. We don't ever have we barely ever have teacher-student conversations, answering questions. The teacher will just ask a question and no one will answer. And I think that might be just maybe they're uncomfortable, or maybe they're not in they're maybe in their a loud environment where they can't unmute, and then some kids just don't want to.
They're not there.
Yeah, they're not there.
They're not there. So what you're telling me is you just did a year of school where people are completely checked out. Yeah. And unless you really I'm gonna pay attention and try to really be involved, it doesn't suck you in. Like when you go to school, it sucks going to school, but once you start first period, you're there. Yeah. And you can rock and roll, right?
Yeah. And when you go to school, you're kind of forced to pay attention because you can't be on your phone. But when you're at home, you have your phone, you have your camera off, you're muted, you can literally do whatever you want.
See, this is the stuff I want to hear.
Yeah.
We don't, a lot of us don't understand that. We didn't go to school like you are and have this device next to us. And so that's what I mean, that hurt my heart.
Yeah.
That hurt my heart, because I have a younger child. He's 7, and they're all really involved because they're young. Yeah. Right? Not in high school. You're like, whatever. Right? I mean, that must be really difficult. And then these poor teachers. They're trying to give me one of the teachers, a good experience from one of your teachers, from a cool teacher that really made it worthwhile. Did you have any good teachers?
Trying to think of just one good experience.
Did any of your teacher give me some stories of something a teacher did to make this whole thing better for you, in regards to that situation in computers, something creatively or something.
So I have a biology teacher. Okay. And he made it so that he explains everything to us, and he's he gives us class time to do it, so we're not having to do all our homework right after we're in our Zoom meetings, which I really liked because
so he did it there with you on Zoom.
He didn't. He basically did half of the class where he was explaining it, and then he let us go and let us do our schoolwork. Gotcha. And that really helped a lot.
Didn't tie up the whole hour. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And that's just one little thing that made it a little easier.
Yeah, it made it definitely a lot easier.
Do you think there was a bigger disconnect though?
There was.
Right?
Because then he wouldn't, we wouldn't have to talk to him and be like, hey, I have a question. He would still stay on the Zoom meeting. Like, we could go back and ask him questions.
Right.
But it was kind of like he gave us the assignment. And then we left and we did our schoolwork.
What about the social values of school? Like, I'm wondering about, I'm going to really date myself, but, I was in high school in the late 80s, early 90s. Okay.
Yeah.
So, God damn. So, I just remember it being so social and I remember I went home one day because I had like the wrong shoes on. I had to go home and switch my shoes. I mean, that just is such a metaphor for like complete insecurity, right? So I'm thinking about, does that kind of stuff still exist in high school? That cliquish kind of stuff and massively, right?
Yeah, massively. Yeah.
What happened to the order of things when this happened? Like, was the cool kids still the cool kids, or did they just disappear?
They're definitely still there.
Right.
There's still a big group. I don't necessarily fit into like a clique, so
Cool.
I wouldn't know, but they're definitely still there, and they are. It's like every year more kids come in, and then more kids get added to the group.
Okay.
So
it gets stronger and stronger.
It gets stronger and stronger.
And
Yeah.
some of them leave. But so there's such a connection, because a lot of times I argue, people my age argue, this generation is so distant because of these phones and all this. I'm like, bullshit. They're closer in a lot of ways. They just are.
Yeah.
Because, you can, I saw this picture one time of these two people standing against, at their wedding, and they were standing next to a car, and it had a picture of both of them, and they were both looking at their phone. And it was something about how, isn't it sad that they're not spending their day together on their wedding day and blah, 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 blah. And then I heard another personality say, I think it was Gary Vee, that said, how do you know they're not connecting with their grandma about the wedding?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that we miss that about you guys, in your generation, is that are you staying connected that way? Big time?
Definitely. Yeah. I have a group chat of friends that we call each other like almost every night, because I have some friends. I have a friend that lives in Arizona, and then friends that live here. So we all call and we talk. And that's kind of our social connection, other than being at school. And I've made friends that I maybe saw on the bus like 2 times, and I was like, oh, hey. Now we're like really good friends, and we call every day. And
very cool.
yeah.
Because I was making it all about us, right? I got your mom here, but we would have been fucked. We would have been fucked. We had like 3, I think we got 8, 11, 12, 18 stations when we were in high school, finally, but we had 3 when I was growing up. There was nothing else. There was no cell phone or shit. So I was just thinking about that. So that hierarchy and that whole social thing just kept going, because it's all based there. Yeah. In that social network anyways. Completely makes sense. Absolutely. So in regards to that kind of stuff, like, how did events go in school now? So were they all just blown away, or did they try to do these pseudo kind of weird events? Like, how do you do Sadie Hawkins, or how do you do homecoming? How do you do they even have Sadie Hawkins anymore? Is that a thing? No. She looked at me like I was fucking Tolo. Okay, so why did we call it Sadie Hawkins? Why was it in a farm? Why was it in a fucking farm? Remember?
I know. They also had bales of hay and stuff.
Bales of hay and shit. Yeah. Can somebody tell me what the fuck that was all about? The girl asked you. The girl asked you. Wow. That's another thing. Like, I'm going to piss everybody off, How gender normative is that, right? That's just fucked anyways. You know what I mean? Right off the bat. But anyways, I'm thinking about, we had these bales of hay, and the girls would ask the boys, and then the boys would say hi and hello and yes. And then we'd go and we'd sit on these bales of hay and take pictures. And now I think they call this Tolo. And I had no idea why. Can you be looking this up, Randy? Jesus, get on this.
It comes from a classic hillbilly comics.
What do you got?
What?
Sadie Hawkins Day is an American folk event.
Okay.
And pseudo holiday originated by Al Cap's classic hillbilly comic strip.
Why the fuck's it at Timberline?
It's inspired real-world Sadie Hawkins events.
What are those?
The premise of which women ask men
Oh,
for a date and
here it is.
dancing.
Yep.
Okay.
What's the problem with that, though?
It came from a hillbilly comic strip.
Hey.
That's so
What's wrong with
interesting.
hillbillies?
There's nothing.
Yeah. We don't have
Don't-
Sadie Hawkins.
Come
So
on.
we don't.
Oh God, Amelia, that was amazing. That was good. You made me laugh.
We have homecoming, which we
Homecoming.
didn't do this year,
Okay.
and we have prom, which
All right.
I've never been to. So
Really?
I'm too young.
You're too young. You're too young. Yeah, you don't have that later on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they still do that only like senior year or senior prom? I remember
I
they
think
had.
it's junior, senior.
They called it May Dance or some shit. I never went to any of them.
I don't know what that
So it's
is
getting
either.
big.
We had more dances.
Yeah.
Definitely had more dances.
Do you still have dances on Friday after the football game? Those were the kick down. That's when they'd bust some Sir Mix-a-Lot and I would shake my ass.
Yeah.
Some buttermilk biscuits and shit.
Um,
Yep. Let's sift that flour, roll
swap
the
meat Louie over
dough.
there.
Yep. That's it, dude. Y'all know.
Oh.
You know, don't even, your mom, she was out there shaking it too. So is your dad.
what?
Oh, dude, your dad can dance like he, have you seen him bust a
Oh
rug?
yeah, I've seen him dance.
Oh,
Trust
dude,
me,
will
he
bust a
dances in
rug.
the kitchen a
He
lot.
puts everybody to shame.
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, he will dance.
Shout out to Dad.
All you gotta do is throw out some Morrissey.
Shout out to my dad.
Throw out some Morrissey and he's out
Sometimes
there.
I'll like mock him dancing. I'll like mock him dancing. Yeah.
So how back on fucking subject.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep.
so how do we get how did you do those?
we didn't.
You just didn't.
We just didn't.
They-
It was all at home, not leaving my house. No football games. Well, maybe there was. I can't remember.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
And so did football and the certain sports just miss a whole year? Or did they kick them down the line? So did you have anything that you were doing like in school as far as extracurricular that had to be postponed or anything that was rescheduled? Is that what they did? Or did they just say, nope, we're done, and people lose their whole sophomore year of football? That's what I always wondered.
Yeah. So football, I think, was postponed.
Mm-hmm. So they did
So-
get their year again. And they
Yeah,
did
I
it,
think they started around like winter
Okay.
instead of fall.
When do you... So at 6 months, you're still not back. All through the summer, you're still not back. You start the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, what are, besides just staying home continuously, what is, tell me what you're doing to get through it, you know, as a kid, you know, and how do you feel during the election? So the election's happening
Oh yeah.
and people are storming the gates. And I mean, it was a really weird time. And I think about it. I think about our kids. And I think of you as definitely a young adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to say kids, but you know, I don't care how old you become, you're still our kids. You know what I mean? You're always going to be your kid to your mom, you know? So my thing is when I see something like that, I think about how unsafe our kids feel and what's happening. So I want to get into, now you're not back at school yet.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through this election where there's some volatile stuff happen. Black Lives Matter is happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got the civil rights movement, a pandemic, and some kind of, I don't know what that was all about, white supremacy surge on the whole deal. I mean, I think we're going to unpack that for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Will you tell me what the hell's going through a youth's mind at that point? Like,
So, the day that they stormed the Capitol,
mm-hmm.
I was in my room doing school. My mom was like, "You need to watch the news, like right now."
Mm-hmm.
So I went downstairs, and I just sat there and just looked at it, and like I wanted to start crying
Mm-hmm.
because it made me feel incredibly, not only disappointed but just unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
It made me feel like there was no hope. Like this is they're storming the Capitol. I mean, who does that? You know?
Right.
Right. And my friends were like texting me and they're like, is this the worst that can happen? Like, I feel like this is the worst that can happen. We're in a pandemic. They're storming the Capitol. You know, people, I think like 2 or 3 people died.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But, it felt terrible.
Mm.
And I think that contributed a lot to my mental health.
Mm. Tell us about your mental health.
So I think at the beginning of quarantine,
Mm-hmm.
I started really suppressing my feelings, and I wouldn't tell anyone what I was feeling, because I felt like I had no reason to be feeling like this. Like, I'm a 16-year or a 15 then. I feel like a 15-year-old girl who has good grades. You know, everything's going fine for me. Why do I feel like my world is like ending? Like I felt awful. And then I finally talked to my mom about it. And I went to a psychiatrist.
Had you ever felt that way before, or was this just really hitting you now?
Yeah, I had felt it on and off probably since 8th grade, but
Okay.
it was never constant.
Gotcha.
Until quarantine. And I think it was just having to sit with my thoughts and have to really think like, well, am I ever going to go back to school? Because that was what was bothering me a lot. Like, I wanted to go back. I wanted to be able to see my friends, but
And the distracting,
mm-hmm.
you know, of it all makes you not sit with your feelings. But
yeah.
I would also say that you're still in some real formative years.
Yeah.
And you don't have a lot of, no offense, but you don't have a lot of life to base off of, right?
Yeah.
So you're going like, where do I get some normalcy? And the world is shaking all around you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was unhealthy for all of us. Yeah. You know, look at the way we acted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so go on with your mental illness. I don't want to pry too much. I mean, just go where you're comfortable. Okay.
Yeah.
But let me know. I'm feeling there's something there. You know, what happened? How did it progress through up to now, and where are we at now?
So, I went to a psychiatrist.
Okay, that's where we were. I remember.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And she said that I should probably go on medication.
Okay.
And at first, I talked to my mom, and I was like, you know, my dad didn't have good experiences with it, so I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of pushing away from that.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my friends were also struggling with their mental illness.
Right.
I waited for
Mm-hmm.
a while, and I wanted to see if it got better, and it got worse. And
Right.
I decided like I need to go to the doctor, and I need to get on medication. And she prescribed me Lexapro.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started going to a counselor, and I'm doing better. I still have my days where I'm just, you know, not feeling good, really negative, and like I just want to lay in bed all day and not do anything.
Right.
But definitely having someone to talk to helps a lot, and having someone that understands, because if they don't understand, you feel like you're just, you know, alone. And
So you really felt the support from the counselor?
from the counselor, from my mom,
Mm-hmm.
from my friends,
Mm-hmm.
because they would listen, and they would be like, you know, it's okay, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I am incredibly thankful for my friends and my mom,
Mm-hmm.
because they got me
Mm-hmm.
through those couple of months that were really bad.
So that kind of evened things out and helped you. And thanks for being so brave.
Yeah.
You're so fucking brave. So that evened things out for you a little bit.
It did.
And then Trump storms the White House.
Yeah.
I know he didn't storm the fucking White House. Get off the feed.
Yeah.
Anyways, he storms the White House. So were you feeling better then, or were you? Because I can fuck with you a little bit, because I'm mental too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got a bond on this shit, right? Right.
I promise he's a
So-
lot worse.
Definitely. So my thing is see, I just lost my thanks. You just he lost my sense.
You said you could fuck with her a little bit.
You're
because
mental
you're
too.
mental too.
But I was in the middle of
No
I was
realm where you're close.
I was gonna say something that was really witty and really good.
I don't believe it.
It was just amazing, and it's gone in the ether forever. So that's how good it is, because it's gone forever. Anyways, he's storming. Oh, so he's storming the Capitol.
Yeah.
While are you getting some regular like stoic behavior like we do on meds and stuff sometimes, or are you still in your fucked up stage?
I was not on meds yet.
Okay,
So that
okay.
was.
That was
Okay.
over the top.
That put
That-
her,
yeah.
That's when you went over the top.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Trump causes meds.
Yeah.
You heard it right here,
That's a good
right
one.
here tonight. Trump directly causes med use in youth.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm gonna need bail after this.
I know a guy.
Okay. So, anyways, so it got worse. Like, right
It got worse.
Okay.
Yeah. I never thought I would see anything like this happen. I know everyone says that, but I didn't expect anything like this to ever happen. Especially, when I'm alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So, when you get what was the most stressful part? The BLM part, the Trump part, the pandemic part? Let's
That's a good
quantify.
question.
Let's quantify,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What stressed you to your core and made you fear and shake inside, whether it be emotionally or physically, that opened you up for more pitfalls with your mental health? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think definitely the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
It really bothered me
Mm-hmm.
because, they've been fighting for, rights forever.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Really?
really?
Yeah.
Still.
Really? Still. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That really, really bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
But then also Trump was just
Yeah. Like an extension of that. You know? Yeah. So
Yeah.
now when you're talking, I think you kind of said that you weren't actually fearful like rednecks from Oklahoma weren't going to take us over. I get that.
Yeah, yeah.
But what were you fearful of? Were you fearful of your way of life breaking down in any way or democracy in general? Like there could have been a break in it? Because my kids come to me and go, Dad, are like we not going to banks and shit anymore? Is everything going to fall apart? Did you feel that way?
Definitely when they said that, Biden stole the election, they were going to do a recount, and that
scared me.
That scared me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to lose our democracy. I don't
Yeah.
want us to be, a communist country. I think that's the right word.
Well, yeah, and they talk about Hugo Chavez and stuff, and whether you love him or hate him, they talk about how horrible he is of a socialist and all this, but yet that's kind of the same kind of thing as dictators do, is they eke their way through.
Yeah.
And I just like all the stories and all the stuff I've read in my horrible education and my college going, what they say, but no, I'm very thankful for it. I understand all the stories of history, and you said you love history. So you're just sitting there going, this is literally out of the playbook, right?
Yeah.
But in a new kind of way that's going to fit in history really. Like I can almost see our grandchildren, studying how diabolical this whole thing was, and you're living through it.
It's definitely going to be in the textbooks.
So hardcore. And so what, to coincide your mental illness with what's going on with the pandemic, BLM, you're coming out of that. We're just going into that dark phase of winter. Did that keep going, or when did you start to feel relief? Or are you feeling relief? What relief did you feel?
I think.
Take me through that winter, please. I want to know that winter after the election.
Yeah, so I definitely felt a lot of instant relief after, Biden had been sworn in. It was kind of like a weight lifted off of my shoulders.
Yeah, if anything, like as an adult, I felt like we were going to be able to just have our cops again and like have I didn't mean our cops again. I mean our normalcy and like stability, and like everything was going to go back to normal rather than being on this big roller coaster.
Yeah.
Did you feel that too as a child?
I did. I
or as a
was
young adult?
I was so happy to not have to constantly hear, like, Trump does this on the news. And it was getting to the point where I couldn't watch the news
Mm-hmm.
because it would make me just sick.
Mm.
I couldn't watch it.
So you felt that too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I know my parents did too, because, well, one of my parents did. My dad still watched it. But
Did you find yourself consuming it more and more because it was so hardcore and over the top, or was your relationship with the media the same?
so I am definitely into some drama sometimes. So when it's like, storming the White House, I was like, ooh, that's bad. Like, I wanted to see what was going on, but also at the same time, I was just kind of, sad. It was bad.
Where do you get do you watch TV, or is it just phone?
I do watch some TV.
Mm-hmm. You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
very little though.
Do you get any news from TV or anything?
I don't watch the news.
I was just wondering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her
So-
dad had it on like continually. During
It's like
Oh.
I would go downstairs to get
It
food
was
and it would
on
be.
too much. Almost.
Okay, I get it. So Mom is chiming in that you had what'd you have? Fox or CNN running?
CNN.
Running in
Not
the
Fox.
background, right? Okay. Well, I wanted to be fair.
yeah.
I wanted
Shout out to CNN.
I wanted to be fair. Okay. Okay. So it was running in the background. Yeah. Gosh, it was with me a lot too. I had, I think I've said this before. We interviewed a COVID patient and I would just go, I was so just going through I'd go through CNN, Fox, and then like NBC in a cycle because you're locked in your house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I would just go on these cycles and I was just trying to see, because I can assure you there's never been a time like this in history.
No.
It's just been incredible. Yeah. So, tell me, we're going into the winter, Christmas, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your mind at? Do you think it's going to end? Now it's been almost a year. It's not 2 weeks. It's not 3 weeks. Where are you at there?
I think my hope in it ending was definitely lost.
Really?
I was just like, this is probably going to just keep going. I didn't see an end to it at that point because, cases were still going up and people were still getting sick. And I just I didn't think about when it would end. I was just thinking, the next day or the next week, just getting up and going to school.
What, at that point, in that time, what was the youth political climate? Does if you were to take your high school, well, it's probably where we live too, but like, does your political, what's your political climate like as younger?
I think there's some kids that talk a lot about political views. I do a little bit. I know a lot of kids are posting stuff about Inslee, some negative, some positive. Posting about the Black Lives Matter movement, which I did too.
Well, that was a big youth thing.
It was a big youth thing, and it was a big movement. And
thank you to the youth.
Yeah.
They're the power, right? That's what it's all about. Yeah. And without youth, we wouldn't have had that movement. So that was big. That was big in your school. The BLM movement was it big?
It was, yeah.
Okay. And what was there anybody visibly against the BLM movement in high school in your situation in Timberline High School? Were there people that were actually visibly
against it?
There
were the people saying, all lives matter.
Right.
White lives matter. It was, and I would just I would want to say something to them. Like, I would have to hold myself back because I almost did multiple times. And then, people saying, Biden's killing people. How does that feel, liberals? And it's like, I have to hold myself back because I don't want to get in an argument with someone. I don't like conflict. I don't like having to, I will tell one of my friends and they'll get in an argument with them, but I won't.
Well, I'm wondering, my question is kind of relating to this. So I found that the youth are over the gay thing. Majority of people your age are, if you're gay, we don't care. We're over it. Stop. Why are you worrying about it? Yeah. Why is everybody worrying about it? We're going to be over it. Or we're over it. You're going to be dead and we're going to be over it.
Yeah.
So my question to you is how was the like, let's say masking. Were there people? How was that? How was the climate on that? Were you guys over it? Wear your masks.
Yeah.
Or was there a big, uprising and that kind of stuff?
There was definitely at first a lot of kids would try and make like statements by wearing it under their nose. And I'm so like, I go to school and there's still kids that wear them under their nose. And I'm so over it. It's ridiculous, and it makes me quite angry. It's something I'm very passionate about.
Is that the majority of people at your school? So
No,
we're getting back into
it's a minority of people.
So we're getting back into school. You head back to school at what time? Like, what would have been that you went to your first class? Was it like March?
March 20th.
And that's when you start the 2 days a week?
Yeah.
And explain to us how many people are there? How did the classrooms work? How does that work?
So there was probably about like 500 kids.
Okay.
In the whole school.
And your school usually holds about 1,500 or something like that?
Like
1,800. Okay.
Yeah. So there were like 6 kids in each class. And that was, it was nice. We got to have our own space, but classes were 90 minutes. So that sucked.
That's brutal.
Yeah, just
That's brutal.
sitting there.
I want to come back to this, but I didn't get your feelings. Like when you find out you get to go back to school.
Oh, yeah.
Are you hanging on to it? Like, I want to know if I can go back to school. Are you not really paying attention to it? And then you find out. Are you stoked? What happens when that?
So at first, I wasn't going to go back to school.
You were like, nope.
I thought that, we're just going to close down again.
Right.
But
we almost did, right?
Yeah. I had a friend that was going to school, and she was like, you should really come to school. And
so you held back while everybody else went. They started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I held back, and then my other friend held back, but
Okay.
I had a different friend that was at school. So
you didn't go back right away when everybody else did, is what I'm saying.
No.
Okay.
So basically everyone signed up, and I signed up late.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I could be with her.
Okay. And then she convinced you to kind of come back.
She did. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And now you're back in school. Everything's cool. And there's 6 people in each classroom.
There's more now.
Okay.
Because
Well, no,
we're
not
doing-
now. Back then there were
Oh,
6.
yeah, back then there was
When you
6.
first started, there were 6 people. And now explain to us, like, how'd you do lunch? How'd you do breaks? How'd that work?
This is gonna sound
It's
so
got to
weird.
be so crazy.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Okay.
It is.
All right.
So we would come into school, and they have desks.
Set your bookbinders here.
Yeah. You had to get your temperature taken.
Oh, shit. Temperature here. Okay. I don't know why I'm saying that. Okay. All right.
And you had to.
Your documents are not in order.
And you had to have like a paper that said that you were okay to come to school.
Okay.
So then you go into the commons, and there's desks that are 3 feet apart, like single desks, and you have to sit at those until the bell rang, and then go to class. And then at lunch you had to sit.
Okay, wait a second. Like, we don't need no education. So they put you in the commons with desks.
Yes.
Like pixelated
It felt
desks.
really
and then you
weird.
sit one at a person.
Yeah.
We don't need no. Okay.
It was weird.
Okay. Oh, God. That had to be weird, right?
It was weird at first, especially I was just sitting there, and I'm like, this doesn't
Oddly
feel
dystopian, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you go to your classroom. How many periods? Normal amount of period? No, 90
3.
minutes. 90 minutes, you said.
3 90-minute
So 3 9.
periods.
Oh, brutal. So you get the one teacher that you hate for 90 minutes, right? Oh, I hate that. Anyways, so now if you have 3 periods versus 6, they obviously don't do any PE, any of that stuff.
Actually, they do. They
What?
do PE.
What do you like? Play soccer 6 feet apart?
It's badminton and volleyball, so you're far apart. Yeah.
Okay, so what did you take during that period? What were you doing during that
I
period?
was so my classes, I had biology.
Okay.
Biology, pottery, and German.
Pottery and German.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that was
cool.
my easy day. I could
Okay.
do
Okay.
whatever I wanted.
And then you just did a quarter. You did a quarter of that, and then they went back to full time or semester of that. How did that work till when you've got to now? Where are we at now?
We're at 4 days a week.
Okay.
3 class periods a day.
And how many people are in those classes?
At most, like 20,
Oh.
16, but they're
Okay.
all 3 feet apart desks.
So instead of 6 feet, it's 3 feet apart.
Yeah.
Which really doesn't make a difference, right?
No.
You're all in a room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And are you wearing your masks when you're in class?
Yes, we are.
And that's how you were before. Does it just get brutal?
It
And
does.
sweaty?
Especially I have to walk across campus to one of my classes like really fast. So
Then you put your mask on before you go in and you're like all sweaty?
No, we have to wear a mask the entire time.
Oh, when you're walking?
Yeah.
Oh.
We can't take it off unless we go outside
Mm.
for a mask break, or at lunch. But at lunch you're at those desks 3 feet apart. So
Do you know anybody your age who's vaccinated? Are people getting vaccinated your age?
A lot of my friends are younger than me.
Okay.
And I have a friend that's older than me and she's not.
Okay.
But I am.
You are?
Yes.
Awesome.
Got my second one last week. So
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Anybody you know in your community that you knew close that was younger that contracted COVID?
No.
Good.
No.
Good. That's fun to know.
Also, I forgot to mention, I do have a friend that's fully vaccinated. Forgot.
You do?
He told me, yeah.
Okay. So there are people your age getting out there and getting vaccinated. And if you're
Yeah.
vaccinated, they're still not letting you walk around without masks.
No.
Have they told you what's going to happen?
They haven't.
Do you get the feeling like they ever knew what was happening? Or did they just kind of fucking play it
There's
back?
like the teachers were like, oh yeah, we got an email yesterday that we're going 4 days in person
Right.
next week.
Right.
So I feel like the teachers maybe aren't getting a lot of information. I don't even know if, like, they might just be making decisions on the whim. I don't know.
Well, I think part of that, I'm going to advocate for the teachers a little bit.
Mhm.
I think that I naturally hate every move they make. You know what I mean? So I think they wait to tell us.
Yeah.
So we don't have weeks to brew on it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because every time they've told, like this last time they wanted my young one to do the 4 days like you. And I was like, we're almost to the end. Why don't I just keep them at 2 days and just and ride it out? It doesn't seem like putting them all in a room is that much of, I don't know. So I think I'm naturally against it. So I think they hold back because we're going to, thwart them. But do you feel like you're back to any normalcy?
I definitely think, well, no, not really. The
Not
social
really.
aspect is different.
And it's probably not ever going to be the same, is it?
No. We're all incredibly, most of us, shouldn't speak for everyone, but most of us are really shy now. We don't talk to each other. We don't really communicate. And then there's those big groups that have, like, had gatherings and they've seen each other and,
So there's more division that way.
yeah.
Because so you're saying that there's these groups have gotten larger, and it's created even more of a separation because you're not in classes together, you're not in situations together, you're not forced to be together like when you
Yeah.
said before. Interesting.
I wanted to add something.
Go ahead, please
Go
do.
ahead.
I also think that there's kids during this pandemic that have taken it really seriously
Okay.
and have isolated themselves and
Uh-huh.
have not hung out with their friends a lot
Right.
and have taken it seriously the way that, I take it seriously.
So it
And then there's other groups, like these bigger groups that she's talking about, that through the whole thing would get together and hang out and, socialize. And so they still have that aspect and they still have that community,
right. Right.
where a lot of Amelia's friends, they lost that. And it made them turn more inward and more shy. They weren't hanging out with their friends. They
So in
weren't
case you
breaking
can't
the
hear what Tammy's saying because she doesn't have a mic because Randy's lame, she's
I had it hot over here.
yeah, and
They could hear everything.
so what's happening is that you're telling me that this group of kids that didn't really want to follow the rules
Mm-hmm.
still got together
Yeah.
and they kind of thrive.
Yeah.
And you guys who are socially conscious and trying to follow the rules and help, stay healthy, really paid this ultimate price of distance, and then you got fragmented.
Yeah, exactly. They would go on like ski trips and stuff.
So only the good die young kind of thing. Wait, whoa, I lost myself for a second there. I went with Kylo Ren for a second there. Sorry, I got a little evil. That's horrible. That's horrible, because then they just feed off each other, right? And then
yeah, I mean they just sounds
right.
They just keep growing, and they just
And that's a group that. Come on, get into that. Get into that a little. I mean, I know you might pay for this. You might pay for this socially a bit in your circle, but I want to hear it.
My friends won't care that I'm talking.
Okay, good.
They agree
good.
with me.
Put them on blast. Go ahead. What happens?
They get in these big like groups, gatherings, like this big circle.
And do the parents know about this?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that they don't really care. I think
they're over it, or they turned a blind eye.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's their friends, it's going to be okay. They need the social aspect. Well, I need the social aspect too. But I'm not, hanging out with like Sophia or James or someone.
You're dropping names right now.
I am, yeah. Okay. Sophia and James and Nora.
Sophia and James and Nora. Okay. Please, one more lawsuit. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. The lines for the first time are blowing up, and we don't have lines. Okay, so Sophia, Nora, and who else was it?
James and Claire.
And all these fools are getting together and having togetherness, and backwards.
Sophia, Nora, and James and Claire are Amelia's friends that
are not.
They are not.
Oh, okay, I got it. Okay, I thought you were
like,
saying that.
She's talking
okay,
about.
I thought you were saying that these are the guys that are gathering. That's why I'm like, okay, can we line up lawsuits?
No, they wouldn't.
No, I'm just kidding. So these are your friends. Okay, friendly fire. Okay, slander. Okay. So these are your friends who are ultimately paying. And being ostracized, right? Because there's just not a climate where the is it the majority of people that just aren't following the rules anymore?
I think.
I mean, is that what your opinion is?
I think they're relaxing and they're just kind of like, oh, If I get
they're
sick,
over
I
it.
get sick. Yeah.
They're over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, it's all about parenting.
Definitely.
And then it's all about time and parenting, right? So how much time does the parent want to put into the child? Because it's easier to just not put the time in, and then the kid gets to run and make the decisions. But if you want to go, hey, you can't do that, it takes time, and it takes anguish and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So be thankful to your parents, right?
Yeah.
Because they've instilled like this moral compass where you might hurt somebody if that happens. Yeah. And I could give a fuck, by the way, if anybody's listening to this, about the argument of whether or not we should be doing all these practices to make things better, because I don't want this podcast to turn into that. Yeah. It's not about whether or not the science was real and we did what was right. It's all about whether we came together as a collective. And I'm not blaming kids, and I'm not being down on kids. I'm just trying to represent what you're going through. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's funny because what happens is you can take a majority of, I believe, I think you can take a majority of parents, and we're adults. We know when to take and implement certain things in our lives, and how to listen to things and process things with an adult mind. If we don't handle that well, kids get lost because there's not clear directions. You know what I mean? So it doesn't surprise me that the majority of children out there don't understand the seriousness behind it, because we've politicized it so much. Yeah. It sounds that's like kind of what I'm hearing from you. Yeah. How about your teachers? How are they doing? Because teachers are the salt of the earth. I mean, what a hard job, right? Yeah. So how are the teachers doing?
I know a lot of them struggled, especially during hybrid, with kids just not answering the questions
Mm-hmm.
because they need that like student interaction to know that people are understanding what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But they're so great, like, you know, sticking through this and
Right.
trying to teach us, even though I know it's hard.
What an incredible job
Yeah.
that they do. So thankful for it. So on the horizon, do you feel positive? I feel like we're moving in to a new kind of spring, the dawn of a new day.
Yeah.
I feel that in my soul. Do you feel that as a youth? Or are you still like, I mean, do you feel like it's just, what do you, go ahead.
Yeah. I feel it depends. There are some days where I'm like, you know, like, it's gonna be over soon, and there's days where I don't think it's gonna be over.
Because we were talking about how, like, it's you feel like the world has changed. It can't ever go back. I think we're all getting there now. If you haven't come to that realization that it's not ever going back, I don't think you're living a real life, right?
Yeah.
So has that just burnt out the whole high school experience? Or what's your biggest challenge as a youth that way?
I think probably just socialization is a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because she hasn't had a boy, you know, she hasn't got to experience.
We haven't really talked about a
no
lot about
boyfriend.
that.
You know, how can she have a boyfriend? She's
Mm-hmm.
been stuck at home.
Go on the mic. Go on the mic. Get out of the way.
She's been stuck at home, you know, doing her due diligence to try to, you know, get this under control. So she hasn't been in a place where she can meet anyone.
Mm-hmm.
She is going to running start next year, so
Mm-hmm.
she's missing the whole. Basically, COVID has made her miss, you know, the whole high school experience, the things that you and I got to do.
That's what I wanted to
know,
talk
but
about a little
she
more.
has missed it all. She is not.
Yeah.
And I'm not articulating it well. What I'm trying to ask is, do you feel like that's going to come back? Randy, let her right up there on that mic.
No.
Do I feel
Scoot
like
over,
it's gonna
Tammy.
come back?
Scoot
I
over. Don't be
know
shy.
that
Get up on that motherfucker.
I
Jesus.
don't know that it's gonna come back for Amelia because she's moving out of that high school.
Mm-hmm.
She's moving into going to Running Start, to going to SPSCC.
Mm-hmm.
So she has missed. COVID has made her miss a lot of the important things that we got to do growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I worry she's gonna go to SPSCC and some 20-year-old's gonna start hitting on her. You know, and that's
Right.
gonna be her first experience of some guy liking her.
Because she didn't have the steps.
I don't know.
Because she didn't have the steps of like the sophomore year and all that and the years to kind of go to the dances and do that stuff and flirt. And,
I mean, I was
Yeah.
talking to someone, but
Yeah.
that didn't go well.
yeah. But do you think it's ever going to get back to normal? But by the time you're out of there? No.
No, I
It
don't.
just won't be.
No boyfriend for me.
So what are we doing, family? What are we doing to minimize that? You know, what are you guys going through to minimize that? Because what we're looking at here is, instead of a couple weeks being out of school, blowing the whole high school experience. And that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. So that's something our foundation, our whole society is based on. So what are you guys doing?
Well, it is something that Tom and I have been very concerned about. In fact, Tom was thinking that she should not do Running Start
Mm-hmm.
because he thinks that the high school experience is so important. But again, it's going to be different.
Mm.
It's not going to be the same, you know, because of where we're at. Probably, I'm thinking for at least another year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things are going to be, you know, not get back to normal, I guess. But
So do
you
you,
just try to talk to her about these things. I mean, your hands are kind of tied with what you can do to mitigate.
I guess that's the challenge, right? Because I always am thinking, what can I do to get around it? And there really isn't anything you can do.
No.
For us to have open communication
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
talk about how she's feeling.
I'm not gonna fall in love with a 20-year-old, just so you know.
It's just, you know, that's things that go through. That was
As
dad
cool as it
thinking, oh my gosh,
sounds.
she's gonna go to, you know, college, and all these
Yeah.
older guys are gonna start hitting on her. But
Yeah. Your dad's going to be beating some asses. Yeah.
I don't know that there's a way, like I said, to mitigate the issue, and it's going to take more time till things are back to normal. And it's a sad situation because high school was a lot of fun.
It was.
And it was going to Lake Fair with your friends and hanging out, and going to dances.
Okay, but just because I'm not in high school doesn't mean I'm not going to go with my friends to Lake Fair.
I know.
So.
But
Well,
the last few
she
years,
makes a really good point, but on the other hand, that's an amazing point, and I'm right there with you. So I'm trying to think of a way. I was thinking about the positives of that, right?
Yeah.
And that is, high school for me, it was fun, it was great, and all that, but it was also really isolating.
Yeah.
And I think a good rule in life is you've got your top 10 people that your family, your friends that love you, that are close to you, that you should really care about. 10, 15 people, what it is. These are people that are your inner circle that you really care about. And then if you get to 100 people, those are just kind of, right?
Yeah.
Well, that exists in high school too. And you don't think it when you're in high school. You think that there's probably 500 people I just can't even remember. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you think you're going to be so close for so long. And I know it sounds cliche, but as soon as that bell rings and everybody walks out that last day, they're gone.
Yeah.
And it comes down to those just few people again. So maybe you're getting less distractions, and those friendships are going to grow even closer. The people you really are close to.
Yeah. Especially with boys. That was a huge distraction for freshman year, especially.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
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 Boys too. Because young girls against older boys. That's what I told my freshman daughter. Is you're a freshman daughter with all them senior boys there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let me hear about no shit, is what I said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a big difference between a 17-year-old boy and a 14, 15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And so I get that, but I'm just wondering, I'm sure that those politics of high school bring us closer together, but I'm wondering if maybe you guys get times that normal people didn't get, because you're forced to do certain things and have certain experiences. Are you going to go to a big 4-year, or what's your plan?
So my future plan is I want to go to a 4-year and then go into medical school, become a doctor. Yeah.
All right. What kind of medical school? What do you want to do?
I haven't decided yet. I'm thinking general surgery right now.
Good for you. Wow, good for you. So you are going to go bump out your prereqs with Running Start.
Yeah.
And then you're going to leave with a 2-year.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to go right in and do 2 years, then med school.
Yeah. It's only 6 years instead of 8
Yeah.
years.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I always am amazed. I have one of my son's friends did that, and I was just blown away because he went out for 4 years and he had a master's degree.
Yeah.
So, and I value education. Like, education changed my life forever.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100%. All the money I'm in debt and all the money I pay to the Fed, I think my degrees were about 60 grand, 70 grand.
Oh, yeah.
The best thing in the world. Best thing in the world. Makes me look at and study and critical think about everything. Only reason I have this show right now. Only reason I have the ability to critically think and have discussions with you in my book. You know what I mean? It put me in a different type of environment. So college is amazing. It really is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the school setting more? I mean, as far as the classic school setting, or are you going to try to take more online classes and stuff? Online med school surgery.
Yeah, I like some parts of in-person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the energy that in-person school has. It's school's very negative, and I forget how negative it feels until I go back, and it's like, you get glares, you get people pushing you, and it's just like, I just want to.
All those games.
Yeah.
I'll assure you that really doesn't exist much maybe it does for younger college students, but
yeah.
I think it gets better in college, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because people are there, and you don't waste people's time. You always in high school you have those people that just don't want to be there.
Yeah.
In college usually they want to be there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what's in the future? Now, can you give me any positive stuff that's coming up as far as you did say though that you did kind of see a spring coming, right? So what do you see in your future as far as positivity and what's headed?
I feel that I'm getting my license soon, so
Sweet.
I can go get on Tuesday. I'm gonna be able to
Awesome.
go see my friends and
Cool.
not have to rely on my mom. But
Something COVID could not take away.
yeah.
Someone's first driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mom, that's so awesome. There's nothing but. So, do you have a car?
I do.
Okay, tell us. Go.
It's a white Subaru Outback.
Sweet.
It was my mom's.
Sweet. Now,
It's a nice
do you
car.
need a Biden sticker?
Yeah.
It's an Outback. That is so awesome.
My dad has a Hummer.
Oh.
He needs a Biden sticker.
I love it. I love it. So, how good of a driver are you?
I'm pretty cautious. I
Yeah.
hit a curb in my drive test.
Okay, you did.
I did.
Now, how do the rules of the road go for kids? That's interesting.
So
Because they just gave us a license and said, fuck off.
we can't use Bluetooth until we're 18.
Oh, there's Bluetooth rules.
Yeah.
We had these things called PBR rules. Have you ever heard of those?
I haven't.
Have you heard of the PBR rule when driving? Yeah, they said that there's no PBRs in the car. You can't have any PBRs in the car. It's
It's a beer.
it's a beer.
What's a PBR?
I know, I was kidding.
I only know what white
I was the
Claws
only
are.
one. I was. Oh, dude, and I will drink some.
PBR.
I'll
already
drink.
have bottled water. I don't need PBR.
I'll drink some Claw. I'll drink some Claw. No problem. So give us the rules. No Bluetoothing.
No Bluetooth. I can't drive with anybody under 18 out of my household until I'm 16 or until 6 months after I get my license.
Dude, that's a hard thing to remember. Can you just say I didn't remember?
I thought about it. Sorry. But I begged her. She told me no.
It's
so-
really weird because it's like, okay, you took this test. We're going to put you on the road, but we kind of don't trust you,
Yeah.
you know, because we don't trust that you'll be, you know, smart enough to say, hey, don't distract me.
Yeah.
You're so young. Stop distracting me.
I'm like,
I don't get it.
come on, Nikki
I
and
don't-
Sophia need rides home.
Exactly. And you should be
Chauffeur.
able to cruise around the park and look at the boys playing basketball because the boys want you to cruise around the park and like, well, I did when I was a kid.
Basketball.
That's what I did. I played hoop and I waited for the girls to run
Around
around.
the basketball court.
Oh, you son of a bitch! He's right. He's actually right.
Call me a liar.
No, because you are a liar. I integrated the. Why do you think I played basketball? I got down on the court. Okay, he's just making fun of my gayness. So, all right.
I'm not making fun of that.
No, he's not. He's not making fun of it. He's just bringing it up just to be
Okay.
funny.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Why is it funny?
I'm just making him feel uncomfortable. You know, it's
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, there's no way you can make that dude feel uncomfortable. Nothing is off the table. Nothing.
I'll try.
Yeah. Did you have a good time talking to me?
Yeah.
It wasn't too hard?
No.
No?
Nope.
Do you feel like there's anything that you just want to say, whether it be like, what's that dude's name? Fuck you, whoever. Or if you want to put anything you want to say, anything you want to do, is there, you know, any subject that you want to talk about before I ask you my last question?
I just want everyone at school to be nice to each other. Because I see some kids being mean to other kids, and then just, you know, you think quarantine would help people. It helped me realize who I was. Because I look back on who I was freshman year, and I'm not the same person. It's actually kind of mean sometimes. I'm like, ooh, that was something else. But
So maybe take this in and decide to be nicer to each other is what you're
yeah,
saying.
take
Okay.
some time and reflect.
Favorite musician in the world?
Ooh. Oof.
In this room right now, on the wall.
Probably not.
Probably not. Oh, by the way, I want to think about that real quick.
Yep.
I think you're pretty cool because I would be venturing to say I played a Lil Peep cover the other day, a couple days ago. And I think the only reason your mom knows who Lil Peep is probably because of you, right?
You know who Lil Peep is?
Yeah, remember?
No, you only know that because
Yeah,
I
that
tell
was-
you about people that like Lil Peep.
Yeah. Because
Not naming anyone.
Oh, okay.
No, name 'em.
Is that the guy for the 1 week?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
But the
I
o-
never heard of Lil Peep.
I don't listen to Lil
You
Peep.
don't listen to it, but you told me about him.
Yeah, because Peter listens to him. Sorry, Peter.
Shut up,
the
Peter.
the only reason I know who he is because my son listens to him, and
Okay.
I absolutely got enamored with his art. He's incredible to me.
Yeah. He has cool
Um,
face tattoos.
Right, and and she
You're really hurting some people's feelings right now.
Peep is the shit. Anyways, I'll stand up for Peep all day. But I did this cover and she knew who he was, and I was like, Amelia. I was thinking, she
Not
probably
Amelia.
huh? Not you don't listen to Peep at all. No. But you got her all year on the youth. That's where we hear it, right? So who, not Peep, but who's your number one band right now?
Number one band.
Who we listening to?
Think through my playlist real quick. Probably Mitski.
Mitski. Okay, what is Mitski? I've never heard of Mitski.
Mitski is like she's a kind of indie
Okay.
singer. She's really good.
Is it rock?
It can be. Some of
Okay.
her songs are, some of them aren't.
Okay.
A little more slow and mellow. Also a perfect circle, but that's
Ooh,
two
a perfect
extremes.
circle. I love it. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're a Maynard fan.
I am.
Okay.
My dad's gonna blast me for that.
I can appreciate the perfect circle.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's very
Absolutely.
eclectic.
I do.
She lives with us.
I was gonna say, okay, so what pre your generation, what were you, if you could name your mom and dad's biggest influences on you in 2 bands, give me a couple bands. What did they raise you on? Give me some bands.
Probably, like The Cure.
Boom! They win. Okay. Oh,
The
knock it
Cure.
out of the park.
Man,
Okay.
I'm scared to say this because
Come on. We're putting them on blast. Let's
Depeche
go.
Mode.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good shit. Good shit.
She
Love it.
plays it constantly.
Love it. Good stuff.
Choice.
Yep.
music,
I knew I liked your
choice.
mom. Yep. Good stuff. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You weren't raised on Nickelback.
Ooh,
Morrissey.
Morrissey.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Nickelback.
Okay, Creed.
that's what you're mouthing to me over there.
You can always say Creed or Nickelback and you won't offend anybody.
Nickelback and Creed.
Or Stained.
Stained?
God, those bands.
You know what I always say about Nickelback?
Yeah.
I liked Nickelback before
Mhm.
it was cool to hate Nickelback.
And I don't even know about that band. Anyways,
Yeah, he does.
I've never heard of them. Remember this photograph?
Every time I hear Nickelback.
Oh no, that song gets on my nerves. I don't like that.
What
song.
have you been to your first concert yet?
No,
No.
I think I went to it wasn't even a concert. I just went to the fireworks at Rainier Vista,
Okay.
and there was like a what is it? Heart cover band?
Oh, a heart cover band. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
So we got to get these guys to. We got to get you to a concert. What would be
We
your
do.
best concert that if you could pick anybody, even dead,
Even dead?
even dead?
Probably. That's a good question.
Come on, you got to answer it.
You have to.
I know I do. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking.
Yeah.
Mitski.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a very
Sticking with it.
Mom, don't say that. You're just being greedy.
Okay. Over John Lennon.
We're not gonna talk about John Lennon.
The
right now.
Doors. You love the
The
Doors.
Doors.
Oh yeah, the Doors. The Doors. Definitely
my
the Doors.
God, that's
Definitely
like-
the Doors.
You'd see the Doors over Mitski.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
for you. Awesome. Okay. Give me one more question, okay?
Okay.
I want to thank you so much, by the way, for being
yeah,
on here.
no problem.
You're fucking brave. You're awesome to deal with my jokes and my off the wall shit. I want to thank your mom and your dad for well, obviously they were cool with doing this because of how mature you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They knew that.
Yeah.
They knew you could handle it. It'd be
Yeah.
cool. I really appreciate it. I want to give them a shout out, give them mass love.
Yeah.
Timberline High School, everybody around that we've been picking on that came out of your mouth.
Shout out to everybody.
Shout out to everybody. We love you. But I want you to do me a favor and tell me if the whole world turned and looked at you and said, were listening and they were actually going to listen and take everything in, what would you say?
Just love each other.
I love it.
No matter what you look like, your race, gender, ethnicity, just love each other.
It's that simple, huh?
It's that simple.
We heard it right here.
Yeah.
From the youth, from the mouths of aging babes. You're almost done with that shit.
Yeah.
Hold on to it. Hold on to 16 as long as you can. Change will come around real soon, make you randy. Eric Scott Talks a Lot right here. Random and Reckless Entertainment gives us this platform along with Brainstar Media. Use your brain. Be a brain star. Amelia, Emily, whatever the fuck your name is. Thanks for coming out.
Thank
okay.
you.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.